Zunaida.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, all praises are due to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, granting us the opportunity once again to continue with our studies with regards to the Arabic language. Inshallah, may Allah ta'ala make it easy for us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us along the path, inshallah. And also, inshallah, may Allah ta'ala grant it possible for us, inshallah, to make success of our studies, inshallah. And simultaneously reward us for the time that we spent in the path of Allah Ta'ala seeking the knowledge. Inshallah. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillah, you will see that I've opened on lesson number 13, which was the last lesson we week. It's important, I just wanted to just update us once again as to where we are, so we just can maybe just lesson 14 and hopefully lesson number 15 as well. So alhamdulillah, if we look at, for example, where we are at the moment, remember we did the indefinite. We know exactly when a noun is indefinite, and then we did the other one where we did the adjectives qualifying the noun, the sifa, and the noun obviously that's being qualified is called the mawsuf, and they must agree in gender. We are comfortable with that, inshallah. And then thereafter we did the definite, where we added the al onto it. And because of the al being added, we realized that there was a change to the last harf at the end, of the word, where instead of the dommatain, it became a ordinary dhamma, sound, okay? And that is important, and that made the definite, which we would refer to as the alamu ta'arif, meaning the lam of al being added. And that was the indication, as something now being definite. For example, as we would say, al-baytu will be the house, whereas baytun would have been a house. Then we went a step further, which was lesson number 12, where we did, or before that, lesson number 11, we did pronouns, huwa and hiya, and we also did the particles hada and hadihi. Importantly for us to realize that hada, it means this is or this, and then we added is as part of our translation, and hada was used for masculine, and hadihi was used for feminine. And then we also did the other particle, which was that, which we referred to as dhalika for masculine and tilka for feminine. And obviously, as we did that, it now became complete sentences. The others were normal phrases, adjectival phrases that we used to do. Now, with that, we actually came into formulating sentences, which took us to lesson number 12, which we did last week, where we did a complete sentence, which we refer to as a nominal sentence, where we had the mubtada, which was the subject, the noun, and the khabar was the predicate. For example, we had a definite noun. For example, we would say, as we did, ad-darsu, that was a definite noun, meaning the lesson, and then we had sa'batun, the adjective which had the dommatain at the back, and that we then translated as a complete sentence, which we refer to as a jumla. Jumla is a sentence. Jumla ismiya, meaning a sentence is jumla, or jumlatun or jumla. And then obviously ismiya is the word or ism for noun, so therefore we refer to it as a noun sentence. And that was a complete sentence because we would translate it as the lesson is sa'bun. Sa'bun means the lesson is, say, difficult. So important, that is what we had done. Then last week, we did the interrogative particles. Ma, as we have on, I think you should have it on your screen now, which is man and ma. Okay, and this, as we can see here, the interrogative particles are used when you ask questions. For example, importantly, as we did, man means, man refers to who, and ma refers to what. And importantly, these, as when you ask questions, when you refer to a person, you will obviously say, who is that? You know, as we had man, hada, as you can see there, and you always find the particle is always in the front of the sentence. Man hada, and then obviously your answer is hada Sami, meaning hada Sami. Sami is the name of a man, as we did last week. Man huwa, who is he? Huwa, as we know, it means he. Hada means this, right? So man means who is he? And then the answer will only be huwa Muhammadun. Okay, huwa Muhammadun. As I mentioned to us about the names of males, you'll always find in Arabic, to actually determine whether it's an Arabic or a name with an Arabic origin, you find there's always a Dhamma, you know, on the last harf. So when you find, for example, the name Ibrahim, you can't say Ibrahimun, because Ibrahim is a Jewish name, you know. Therefore, you'll say it's Ibrahimu, right? Ibrahimu. You know, it's not Ibrahimun. Okay. So therefore, so any name that hasn't got the Dhammatain at the back, as I mentioned to us last week, you'll obviously find it having an Arabic origin, if it's a Dhammatain, and other than that, it is from another, you know, dialogue or dialect. Okay. So alhamdulillah, I think that is what we did. The reason why I actually opened on this particular lesson is to take us to the exercises, which is very, very important for us, that I hope, you know, we had time to look at it, because we're going to see now that it's important that we try and update ourselves with the actual understanding of it, you know. And the best way that you and I can do, or actually can path our way further to understanding, is to do exercises like we have here, inshallah. You know, like for example, here, you can maybe just check your homework. You can mark your own homework, so you can rectify it if you want to. I just wanted to explain a couple of things here. Here, importantly, as I found last time I mentioned, was that we find that when it comes to the Arabic, translating to Arabic, I found we had a bit of a challenge, okay? Having a bit of a challenge, meaning, you know, we didn't remember the words and that. So obviously we need to work on that, which we will, inshallah, overcome as a group together, inshallah, okay? Because I mean, if you realized, I would say I was surprised to when I now prepared this evening and I saw my word, we are by lesson number 14. So alhamdulillah, that was a great achievement, you know. So for example, we say, who is he? Remember, so when we say, who is man? Man, huwa, who is he, right? Who is he? He is Dr. Tayyib, okay? Now, obviously, Dr. Tayyib. Now, here, it is important that we need to understand here, we have actually learnt, you know, the Arabic word for doctor, which is tabibun. But in this particular case here, as you can see, doctor is written with a capital. And that is therefore a title. You see? That is a title. So when it's a title, then you'll see the Arab will say doctor. Okay? So you will say, Huwa Duktur Tayyibun. Okay? Huwa Duktur Tayyibun. But if you said he is a doctor, then it will be Huwa Tabib. Huwa, you know, Tabibun. Okay? But because here in this particular case, it is doctor as the title. And you see, as I mean there, it is the capital that indicates to you. So obviously, therefore, it is the title, doctor, and mean Tayyibun is the person's name, Dr. Tayyibun. And then there, all the others, I mean, I think you should be able to have done that. I just thought that is the one that maybe shown out to me. So that is the first one that I just thought I'll bring to your attention. Then the second exercise, you know, and therefore the reason why I'm doing this is so that you can go over it. If you didn't do it yet, you know, then you have an idea and try and do it in your own time, you know, but try and actually make the effort to do it, right? Then here we came to the question. Can we see the question mark? It's just turned in the opposite direction because man and ma are always, as we had mentioned there, it is particles that brings about the question, okay? Man huwa, can you see there? Man huwa, man. So there's a translate into English. You should be able to translate that comfortably because if we say man huwa, man huwa Ibrahimu, who is he? He is Ibrahim. See there?
So then, Imam, are you there? Imam? Okay, I think we've lost Imam there. I was going to call him quickly on WhatsApp and see whether he's aware of the problems on that side.
Well, I don't know if it's just me, but I seem to have lost connection.
No. Oh. What's going on here? Yeah. I think Imam lost the sharing of the screen or something. Imam, you unmute and you just need to share your screen again. Imam, can you hear me? You unmute. Can you unmute yourself there?
Okay, fine.
Okay,
I've unmuted now. Can
yes.
you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Imam, and you must share your screen again, inshallah.
Share the screen again. Okay, screen number 2. Right. You got it now?
Not yet.
Have you got screen number 2 now?
Not yet, Imam. It's not coming up. Okay, there we go. Starting now. Yes, there we go.
Okay, fine.
Well done.
I don't know why the connection. We lost the connection again like last night.
Yeah, we lost you for about a minute there before.
Okay, but now, anyway, inshallah, yeah. But okay, shukran for that. But you must remind me because, like as I mentioned yesterday, Walid can also confirm. You know, I had a problem with it last night as well, man. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, inshallah, let us ease the way through here, inshallah. Then, like we say, number 3, question number 3 there for your homework, you just had to basically on that, you just had to answer the questions yourself there, obviously. You know, there you can do your own answers there. That's important here, the opposites. Give the opposites of the following words. Can you see here? There you have 10 words where you have to use the opposites, you know. Da'ifatun. Da'ifatun means weak, right? But then you say da'ifatun. Can you see? So that's a feminine. So it will be da'ifun means weak. So the opposite of that is to be strong, is qawiyatun, right? And that is also, I hope you could manage to do that, you know, because that is the importance of these examples here. Then we go further. The last one there, the vocalizing, you know, can you see? I always emphasize on that. Hadihi mil'aqatun, see, mil'aqatun saghiratun, okay? Mil'aqatun, spoon, saghiratun is small, both is feminine and both is indefinite, therefore both will have a un sound, right? Hada finjanun jadidun, see that? Hada finjanun, man hiya Maryamu, okay? Hiya Maryamu, okay? And you see, you'll find females' names will you know, will have just the ordinary u there. Here, Maryamu, okay? Anta walidatun mukhlisatun. Anta walidatun mukhlisatun. Okay? Anta, or this case is anti, walidatun mukhlisatun. Why? Because walidatun is feminine, mukhlisatun is feminine. So therefore, anta becomes anti. Okay? So inshallah, I'll leave that with us also. I don't want to take too much of our time. I just thought I wanted to refresh you on that so that, you know, inshallah, that you can, so that you can actually just check your homework, and also as a means, you know, to make you understand that, you know, the homework is quite important for us, you know, to look at. I'm coming to the next lesson this evening, but before I go further, is there any further questions with regards to what we had, you know, discussed now and the two lessons? Everybody comfortable with that?
Maafi, ma'am. Jariz, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jariz.
Yes. Look,
sorry.
Maafi, I didn't attend last week's lesson, but I just went through what you just discussed now quickly. Just question on, like it says here, man hada, right? Which is, who is this?
That's
right?
Yeah. Nada. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But now that is a reference to male, right?
That's right.
Yeah. But now, just quick question. If you say man huwa, who is he, right? For example,
Yeah.
that would refer as the who being man in the term of male, right?
A male.
Yeah. Wouldn't
If you say
refer
ma hada, if you say ma hada, ma refers most to an object, but hada can refer to any object which is masculine also. So
yeah,
you can
but
say,
what I just what I just want to come to is, if you say who is she, right? Isn't it
yes,
mean here as mean being the female, or is
man.
it man
It will
also
still be
who
man.
as male?
It will still be man, yeah. It will still be man huwa or man hiya, because
Yeah,
man refers to who. So it's not actually, so who is not just a term that is used for males. It is refers to addressing a person and what addresses an object. You see? So that is important to understand. So the man and the ma, those are just particles. Particles, but if it does not, you will see particles doesn't change, you know, when it comes to asking questions. You know,
or referring to gender, for example.
To gender, na'am, referring to gender, yeah. Good observation there, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so, so if I would say min here, will that also be,
it will always,
can't be min?
If you're going to use, it must be man. If you're going to use min is a preposition, which is from.
Yeah.
You see?
Okay.
So you can't say from, you know, so therefore, like I say, the word man always refers to a person if you're asking who the person is, whether male or female. So if you say min, min will be used as a preposition, and it means, you know, it means from. You know, for example, if you say, the man came from the masjid, then you say, ar-rajula min al-masjidi, minal, mi. You see? And you use min. So min is for min is not like a particle in this. Min was referred to as a harfu jar, meaning a preposition. You know, like min, fi, you know, those are all prepositions, inshallah. Okay?
Okay, shukran.
Afwan. Inshallah, now we come again to some more particles that we use, meaning words that we use. And here we say, we're referring to the, what you would say, the interrogative sentences, meaning questions. We start with the particle hal or a. Okay? This lesson will be confined to the use of hal only. Okay? Hal, and we will come to again. So now we can see what's happening now is we are now asking questions. Remember, we started with man and ma. Okay? We started asking that. Now what's going to happen is now we will be starting to ask questions, or because obviously when you give a sentence is always a means whereby you answer a question. You see? Therefore we call it the interrogative particle, as we say, which is then used to ask question. So there are two words, hal. For example, there's a surah, hal ataka hadithul ghashiyah. You know? you know, that I'm sure some of us maybe have read that surah. So obviously there you can see Allah Ta'ala starts the surah with a question. And antum, you know, means are you, you know, or also can be referred to as a question. Again, we see here what they use now, they say how, and they refer to is, you know. So it means it is basically when you're going to ask a question in English, you use the word is, okay? But it is just more as for us to understand that when you ask the question, that don't ask once again, you know, don't want us to accept, you know, as a fact that is, you know, the word for is or the Arabic word for is how now, you know, because remember we did hada also, then we say also is and that, okay? So just remember, how is when you ask a question, ma, you know, as I've just explained to Jaris and to all of us now also, ma and man is also when you ask questions, and this is the other when we say now how, okay? So we say this lesson is confirmed to how. How huwa katibun. And important to observe that your question is always first, or the first letter of your, or your first word mouth of your sentence, as you saw with man and ma as well. So I ask, how huwa katibun. Huwa is obviously he, and katibun is a writer. So if you want to ask the question, is he a writer, then you can say there's two. You can use ahwa, but in this case you can also use how. Huwa katibun, question. You will always answer with two answers, either na'am or la. You know, na'am means yes, na'am huwa katibun. You know, and therefore we can also see, I'm sure when we did our English language also, we were always encouraged, you know, to answer a question with a complete sentence. Na'am, the same year you see, you can't just say, if they ask you, hal huwa katibun, then you say na'am, you know. It is, you know, it's not good manners to say so. Therefore, you'll also answer the question with a, in a complete sentence form, and therefore, na'am huwa katibun. The same year, you can see there, huwa is used for masculine. So when we look at katibun, which is masculine, right? Because there's no ta marbuta, and katibun is a writer, meaning, obviously, as we know, it's indefinite, you know. So therefore say, na'am huwa, he, na? Katibun, huwa, he is. Remember, there we bring is in there to make it a proper sentence for us. The next one is, we can see here, hal hadihi majallatun. You see, majallatun is a magazine, and majallatun is feminine, so obviously your pronoun ya hadihi will also have to be feminine. You can't say hal hada majallatun, because hada refers to masculine and majallatun is feminine. So it's hal hadihi majallatun, right? Naam hadihi majallatun. Okay? Hal anti, see? Hal anti tabakhatun. Now, if we look at this part of the sentence here, this is already a sentence. Can you see here? Anti tabakhatun, meanings, you know, you are a female cook, okay? But when you add hal in there, obviously, as we say, you ask the question. So this, and this part of the sentence we are familiar with, because you and I know, as we had done in the previous lesson, we find that if you ask the, you know, in this particular case, if you refer to anti, then that must also refer to a feminine, because anti refers to feminine. And as we can see there with hada and hadihi, exactly the same. Hal anti tabakhatun, are you a cook? Right? Then you will say, la, no, ana khabazatun, ana. Remember what ana means? Ana means I, and as I mentioned to us, nahnu, which we didn't do yet, nahnu means we, or us, right? So say, la, ana tabakhatun, because for anta, you must answer with ana, because, reason being, because they're asking you the question directly. When you refer to Ada and Adi, you're speaking about a third person. And that's the reason why you say, no, he is and she is. Because they are now, I would say, third person. Number one, first person is you. Second person is the other, you know, the second one that you're referring to when you speak direct to in dialogue. And the third one is when the two of us speak about somebody else. Then the fourth one is here. Hal hadihi madrasatun. Is this a school? La hadihi jami'atun. This is a university. Okay? So inshallah, I think that is something new that we've learned on today, and therefore we can see, so the conversation of our Arabic language can go a little bit further now. You can start asking questions, and you can even answer, by using na'am and la, right? You'll see also sometimes, the Arabs they use another word, the haywa. But, also haywa khaliani, so don't worry about haywa now. But you'll maybe find that they use haywa also, So I think today we say cool, something else, So there's always different forms of words that we add in, to make the conversation more juicy and interesting. But let us stick to the mainstream so long. But inshallah, as you learn on other words, you can then also just add it in, inshallah. Very, very important, as long as we understand the structure of the sentence, the question, as well as the answer. The explanation of that. How is the particle used to introduce an interrogative sentence? I know this is very big words here, for many of us maybe, but when we speak to interrogative, it means a question, okay? To ask a question, right? Note that the particle is written first, as I mentioned to us, and that the question mark is, in Arabic is the reverse of the question mark in English. Obviously, that's easy to understand because when we read in another language, we read from the left-hand side to the right. When we read in Arabic, we read from the right to the left. That's the reason why you find your question mark facing that way, to the right-hand side. Number 3, the answer to the first question is affirmative, meaning it's a positive answer. It is the expression, or it is expressed by the particle na'am. See? Yes, na'am. Okay? The answer to the third and fourth questions are negative and therefore expressed by the particle la, which means no. Thus, answers to how must start with na'am or la, So that is, I think that is something that we, would have detected from there, inshallah. I think that is easy to notice. So if we do some examples, we can read here. I think maybe everybody can, whoever wants to unmute, can unmute, inshallah. So then we can maybe just participate, inshallah. We don't get the participants. I can bring this down now. There we are. Just widen it a bit. Okay, fine. Righto. So you can unmute if you, intend to participate. Inshallah, it would be nice if you can just, just to open the vocal cords a bit again. Okay, these are all affirmative answers. The questions are Al anta. I'll ask the question, then you can respond. Al anta talibun.
نعم أنا طالب.
نعم. Again, هل أنت طالب؟
نعم أنا طالب.
Great. Okay. So inshallah, try and also make it as if you are responding. Like, can you hear how I ask the question? هل أنت طالب? Then I stop there. I breathe at طالب. So also, when you respond نعم, you can have a little tukmanina there, meaning a pause there. But then أنا طالب. You see? If you say la or na'am, ana talibun, you see, then jou gaat aan die slaap val as ons nog klaar gepraat het. So therefore, you try and answer as if it is a complete sentence. Right on. The next one. هل هو رجل أنيس؟
نعم هو رجل أنيس.
Again. هل هو رجل أنيس؟
نعم
هو رجل أنيس.
هو رجل أنيس. Can you see then now what they're doing here now? They're giving you a sifa and a mawsuf. Remember? Now you're looking at an adjectival phrase here. Friendly man. Is he a friendly man? نعم هو رجل أنيس. Yes, he is a friendly man. هل هذا معهد? Is this an institute? Okay. هل هذا معهد؟
هذا معهد.
نعم
نعم
هذا
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 معهد.
معهد.
Okay, again. هل هذا معهد؟
نعم
نعم
هذا
هذا
معهد.
معهد.
Right, right. Now we come. Because yes, lots of words there. Important, can we see here? Jaziratun and kabiratun. See, important as I just try and explain to us, you'll find here that our basics will stay the same. See there? Hadihi, feminine. Jaziratun, feminine. Kabiratun, also feminine. See there? But to answer Brother Jariz's question, can we see that Jariz? Hal stays hal for masculine and feminine. See there? Similar with ma and man. Okay? Aywa. Naam, naam. Al hadihi jaziratun kabiratun.
نعم
نعم
هذه
هذه
جزيرة
جزيرة
كبيرة.
كبيرة.
Right, beautiful, beautiful. Ali, yeah, I want to explain to us what happens. Can we see all of these that we had done here is indefinite, okay? It's all indefinite, right? It's nakira, all indefinite. But here, this is now Arabic now. When we look at hal again, but when hal is connected to a definite word, see there? At-tardu. Remember, this is most the letters of the sun.
Yes.
Hal at-tardu thaqilun. But because the lam you have, and this is you I think those of us who understand the tajweed also, it is referred to as the hamzatul wasl, meaning that when you have a particle like this and you have a definite word, you know, with the al, then what happens is the alif falls away, or basically it must be written there, indicate to you it's definite, but when you read, it now becomes, like we'd say, la mutakharik, becomes letters without signs on there. So your lam here goes direct into the to, right, with the mushadda. So we can see there, for example, here, hal has got a sukoon, but after that there's a letter with a harakat as a mud on there. In this particular case, as you can see, there's a to there with the mushadda. As you know, whenever you get a mushadda or you get a sukoon, then the letter in front of it must actually go into that to basically to give it the sound, or to bring about the sound. So and remember now, you'll find here that whenever you have the particle and it's connected to a definite word, see that? A tard. A tardun is a parcel, but at-tardu is it means referred to the parcel. So therefore, can you see here, you say halit. Halit tardu thaqilun. Can you see that? Halit tardu thaqilun. You can't say hal at-tardu. You say halit tardu thaqilun. Okay? Something new that we're learning on now. But just remember, when you find a particle connected to a definite word, you know, to a ma'arifa, then obviously, or to alamu ta'rif, and now here, the lam with the al, then automatically the particle goes direct into the to there, you know, into the mushadda. So I'll answer the question, I'll ask the question, halit tardu thaqilun?
نعم الطرد ثقيل.
Al-tardu thaqilun. Okay? Al-tardu thaqilun. Can you see? Because here you're starting with the, see, there's no particle here now. See? So there you start with the alif. Can you see that? You're going to start with the alif there. So now you put that on the alif there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Further, page number. Now we're going to have negative questions that we're going to ask. Righto. Hal anta ghaniyun? Hal anta ghaniyun? Your answer?
لا أنا
لا أنا فقير.
La ana faqirun. So we can see what's happening. We're using the opposites. Can you see? Opposite. Ghaniyun means rich. So the opposite of ghaniyun is poor, which is faqirun. Okay? Faqirun. Okay? Not with kafay, kanala a qaf. Faqirun. Okay? Faqir, the kaf is a sound. As fukaha means to, like it refers to the fuqaha meaning of faqaha means to understand, to basically to understand. So here we can say he is poor, right? Alir, here we come again. Can you see there? Alir, see there? Alir risalatu thaqilatun. Halir goes once again the definite. Halir risalatu thaqilatun.
الرسالة خفيفة.
La.
الرسالة.
Just take note, as I mentioned previously. Can you see there's the mushadda? But when it comes to the Quran, then you'll find that E sound at the bottom here, right?
Yes,
in the
yes.
Quran. But when it comes to literature, referring to, literature and books on Arabic writing, then you'll see they have the mushadda there and there's an E at the bottom. I'll
Yes.
tell you also, when you look at your Arabic programs, if you look at your computer, if you look at your computer if you look at your computer and then if you look at your computer also, and you have an Arabic keyboard, then you will also see if you press the mushadda, then you see, and you put the mushadda with the E sound, then you'll see it will give you the mushadda on top, then it will make the E just below the mushadda there. So we must, those of us who wear specs, must get, a bigger screen to actually pick that one up there, okay? But as you can see, that's E. If it was the A, it would be on top of the mushadda, okay? So in this particular, you say, halir risalatu thaqilatun, is the letter heavy? Answer?
لا الرسالة خفيفة.
الرسالة خفيفة. طيب. Okay. هل هو ضعيف؟ هل هو ضعيف؟ هو is he is they can say it also, no? As we say when we use huwa to a particle, you can say refer to as it, or huwa as can also be he when you refer to a person mainly when who is masculine. Remember we did this one already previously, no? هل هو ضعيف? Is it weak? And you would say?
لا هو قوي.
قوي, strong. Opposite, no? قوي, هو قوي. Then we go further, we say, هل هذه مدينة? Is this a city? Answer?
لا هذه مدينة.
لا هذه مدينة. And then the last one, هل هي تلميذة غبية? You see? هل هي تلميذة غبية? Answer?
هي تلميذة بقية.
Okay, لا هي
تلميذة بقية. ذكية. See, so the opposite from dull, dull, obviously we don't use that word a lot, dull, Dull also say stupid, we use stupid, but the key, okay, so they say, let's not be a more reserved word there, so maybe we must not bring it into our English vocabulary as well, to sound better. So alhamdulillah, I think we should be able to decipher that, inshallah. If there's any questions, once again, please, do ask, because as you can see, we'll try our best, to guide along the way also, inshallah, because it's important, as I will keep on emphasizing, that we must be with the class all the time, You cannot afford, not to understand, because it's just going to make it complicated for us as we go further. So let us just see what the note is here. If the interrogative particle is followed by a definite noun, then the sukoon of the al, see the lam of the interrogative particle hal is dropped, and it is and a helping vowel replaces it, which is in this case a kasra, ali. See that? Hal, alil, right? I think I explained that to us also, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, I think that is the lesson for us, to understand on how the questions now. Let us just look at the kalimatun jadidatun here, meaning the new vocabulary. I think we can all together just say after me. Khatimun.
خاتم.
Ayrin. Khatimun, is ayrin. Khatimun is a ring. There's a place in Makkah also you've heard about, also in Medina, the bir.
Bir khatimun. Bir khatim is the bir, is the
We
well,
have the ring.
where the ring of Sayyidina Uthman, or the ring fell into the well. See? So khatimun is a ring. Ghabiyatun, we did there, dull or stupid. Ghabiyatun. Everybody?
خبية
Ghabiyatun. Then cheap is rakhisun. Cheap.
Rakhisun.
Rakhisun. Cheap.
Yeah, a good question, Wasima. Here we find that, especially here on all these adjectives, that obviously Ghabiyun is all masculine, Rakhisun is all masculine. But obviously, if you're going to use a feminine mawsuf, meaning a noun, and it needs to be qualified with an adjective, then obviously it must agree in gender. So it will become Ghabiyatun or Rakhisatun. Okay? Depending on the one. But remember, if it's not like a file, you don't get a feminine file. Okay? So here we can say a file is malafun, and you can't say malafatun. Okay? So it's malafun or a file. Okay? All together? Malafun. Malafun. Okay, and coming is qadimun. Qadimun. He is coming. Huwa qadimun min Masra. Okay, he is coming.
Can I just ask a question?
Now, Fadl Waleed.
Tell me, how do we know which words cannot be converted to female or vice versa?
Obviously, words that cannot be converted to female is, for example, when you look at the word rajulun, referring to males specifically, right? Like a father, abun. You can't say for a mother, abatun. You know what I'm trying to say? Because there's another word for mother, which is like we would refer to as ummun. So when it comes to certain, especially certain words that we just find the male doing it. But like, for example, if you look at certain occupations, remember the word we used last week? Ma mihnatuk. Ma mihnatuki. Ma mihnatuk means what is your occupation? When it comes to occupation, then you get a male nurse, you get a female nurse, That is where you put the marbutas on. But when it comes to certain specific names referring to specific genders, like for example, a male, as I said, rajulun. So you won't have like for a female now, you'll say rajalatun. No, you would say, for example, imra'atun. Can you see? So then, and you won't say for a man like an imra'un. You know what I'm saying? So that is like to answer your question. I hope it does. That when it comes to specific males, then a male, and then obviously when it comes to where you find when it is done by both parties, then obviously you can then change it. Your all of your all of your sifas, meaning all of your adjectives, can be adjusted from masculine to feminine, whereby you only add the marbuta on there. Okay. Okay, Walid?
No.
Oh, Eva. Righto. Tanuratun is a skirt. Everybody? Tanuratun.
Tanuratun.
Okay? And then a shirt is qamisun.
Qamisun.
Okay, so you can't, this is a good example. You can't say a qamisatun, because you don't get you don't get a male skirt. Qamisatun. Okay, that's just a skirt. Qamisun.
No, qamisun is a shirt.
Qamisun is a shirt, yeah. So
Can you get qamisatun?
No. Yeah, qamisatun is obviously for a female. You know what I'm trying to say. But I mean, sorry, I referred to tanurun. You can't say tanurun. Tanurun. It will be tanuratun because males don't wear skirts, unless you're Scottish. When they wear. Okay. Anyway, a dress, fustanun. Okay? Fustanun, right? Fustanun is a dress. Fustanun, right? Obviously, there's different words for dress as well, because you refer to, there's also the other one, which is
Libasun.
And then the other one also thiyabun. No?
Okay.
Thiyabun, you know, thiyabun or libasun. No? Libasun is also dress, but it's more libasi for more to clothing,
Clothes.
right? Clothes, yeah. Okay, then a magazine, again, yeah, as a feminine word, majallatun. No? Majallatun. Okay, majallatun is a magazine. So there's a magazine and a newspaper, you know, as two different.
Jaridatun.
Jaridatun is a newspaper, as Auntie Rhoda just mentioned there, and can see majallatun refers to a magazine. You know, that is your ordinary, what you call it, your huisgenots and your keer and your whatever, you know, and you and so much. There you have the opposite. Coming is qadimun and dhahibun is going. Okay? Dhahibun is going and qadimun is coming. Okay? Dhahibun. Huwa dhahibun ilal Cape Town. You know? He is going to Cape Town. Right? So, dhahibun refers to going there. Okay? Inshallah, that is our lesson of lesson number 14, inshallah. Is there any questions that we have before I squeeze the other one in?
The basic question, Imam.
Faddal Yusuf.
Yeah, that the word malafun, it's a foul. Is that regarded as masculine?
No.
Are words always classified as either masculine or feminine? Or do you get like a word as, for example, neutral as well?
Come again?
I mean, can you get like a word that's neutral, like it's neither feminine nor masculine?
Yeah, no, they're like, as you can see there now, that when you speak about a file, it's always masculine. You know what I mean?
So it's masculine.
So it's neutral for that word, yeah. You see, words where you're going to find it to become feminine is when, like we say, when there's both genders doing it. You know what I'm just saying?
Yes.
When both genders can do it. Like as I say, a doctor or a professor or a headmaster or whatever, then there's both genders doing it. But when you look at, for example, or like as we look at, for example, a tardun also, a parcel will always be masculine. You know, a malafun will always be masculine, you know, because it's a file. Then you look at the car. I use the car always as an example. You can't find a masculine car. Therefore, you call it sayyaratun. See there? With the ta marbuta at the back. Okay?
Yeah, it's just very strange, man. I mean, they obviously over time, you know, as the language obviously developed from the start, that, you know, certain objects are just classified as masculine, and certain objects classified as female, like a car. I mean, for our understanding as English-speaking people, like a car is just a car, you know, it's not like a feminine.
That's right, yeah. But you see, important as that's a good question, Yusuf. But important as you can see, when we look at so for example, if we look at the Arabic language, the structure of the Arabic language are more based on gender than what the other languages are. If you look at English and Afrikaans, I mean, those are the two languages that we are comfortable with, right? Or we have been brought up in those languages.
Yeah.
You'll find that when it comes to Afrikaans or English, you don't change the wording or the adjectives, you know, to accommodate it being masculine or feminine. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And therefore you find that the language itself, now, and therefore I say the Arabic language, and what you must realize, and all the students must realize, that the Arabic language you're doing here, this is the pure language that comes from the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And therefore you could see that it has not been tempered with.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't tempered with the result. You find it in its natural origin as it is there. Because you'll find, as any other language, soon as you can find, because this is like, you know, as the spoken language in Arab, you know, in Saudi Arabia, or I would say when it comes to the more authentic Arabic tribesmen, you know. Therefore, you can see Yemen, for example. Yemen is one of the countries that has the most purest form of Arabic in there, and you know, as part of their language, you know, because even if you look at Iraq and you know, there was many of the students that actually originate from Iraq. Imam Shafi, Imam Abu Hanifa, you know, they all originate from Iraq.
You know what I'm trying to say? But now, for example, if you look at Egypt, if you look at all the African or Northern African states, you know, if you look at Morocco, Tunisia, you know, they do have Arabic as a language. Like we have Afrikaans maybe as a first language or a second language, but you'll see that they have also altered many of the wording, you know, with their own, you know, language that they actually, you know, or their own, like we call it slang, you know, that they put in. And if you look at, for example, the Arab now, when you find yourself, when you go, you know, to Saudi Arabia, in Medina, you'll still find them, you know, they're very pure. But now because they have been intermingled with so many other nations, like, you know, there's lots of Indian, you know, Indian speaking, or I would say Urdu speaking people in Makkah. I'm talking about staying there. You know, the Bangladeshis, the Pakistanis, you know, and so on. So what you find is that they've also then bring a lot of their words into their Arabic when they speak now. You know, sometimes, especially when you're going to come to the souks and you're going to now deal with the traders, then you'll hear. Because obviously what they do is they brought in certain words to accommodate their customers, man. And that is how we find. But if you, for example, go to the universities or you go to the schools, and you'll find that they will chat to sort of teach the actual nahu or sarf, you know. And that is important for us to realize, inshallah. Okay.
Maaf, Imam, can I just add to that, to what you were saying?
No?
Look, if you look at the object, whether you reference an object being male or female, right? I would say if you look at like a ship, for example, you want to reference a ship as a he, you will reference it as a she. The ship will be sailing, she is sailing. The same as with a car, right? You make it as a reference as a she. In the English language, if I could just clarify that, then certain objects that you refer to like a file, like in my trade, a file is something that you would file the material or something with it. So in that sense, it would be a male reference to a male object again. Yeah.
No. But this file that you're referring to here is also as a file, you know, a folder.
Yes. Yeah, but you want reference as a female, you reference as a male. If that would kind of sum up in my own opinion.
Shukran very much for that explanation. Shukran, we appreciate that. Shukran. Inshallah. As you can see, I've opened here on one of the pages where you're going to find quite a bit of important challenges here. But I mean, you should be able to answer all these, inshallah. So I'm going to leave this again for us for homework, inshallah, if it's okay with us. Everybody comfortable to do this for homework. And then we can do this, like as we say next week when we start off, we can start off with the homework, you know, and just evaluate how, you know, you personally had fared in this, inshallah. So is there any other questions before I maybe attempt to do the next one? Before I go into lesson number 15, or do you think we should oh yes, it's 2 minutes past 9 already. Do you want me to start off on this one, or do we just hold on to number 14 and then we conclude with number 14?
It's best to stop here, Imam. There's many new vocabs also that you have to learn.
Okay, inshallah. So let me go back to number 14 then, inshallah. So we'll start with number 15 next week. Let me go back to number 14 and see, like, you know, if we can, just for the few minutes that is left, just to see how we can simplify the exercises for us. Okay? Righto? Righto, fine. If we look at page number 54 in your books, okay? Translate into Arabic, can you see there? Can you see how long the sentences are? But it's important, it's very easily, you know. Is he an excellent teacher? Yes, he is an excellent teacher, right? So, how? You start off with how. Huwa, an excellent teacher. Remember the format here being noun first and then adjective after. And because of it being masculine, this he is now huwa, right?
So is he? Hal huwa
Mu'allimun.
mu'allimun
Mumtazun.
mumtazun? See that? And the answer will be na'am
Na'am.
huwa
Huwa
mu'allimun
mu'allimun mumtazun.
Okay. Aywa. Okay. So inshallah, like I say, here you can find, you're going to sit and you'll have to decipher it. Very, very important. And like I think it's a good suggestion from Auntie Rhoda, because there's by a word that was ungeleerd, you know, and I think we need to, you know, be able, and like I say, it's, even if you maybe struggle to remember the words, at least try and get familiar or familiarize yourself with your book, with your textbook, where to look. If you are now going to search for that words, imagine you must now go back 54 pages. So try and then at least know where to find what, man. You know what I'm trying to say? Then at least,
Then I just say at the back of the book, there's also like a dictionary, especially the English words, that they can go alphabetically, especially when it's English to Arabic.
alhamdulillah, you know, Auntie Rhoda toch explore, you know. So that is important that, like as I say, for each student to know his book, he must know his textbook. He must know where to find what, even if you have whatever profession you have, if you don't know where to find your references, you know, then you're going to battle with it, you know. So exactly, you know, as Auntie Rhoda is saying, and there's lots of other information that you can get from there also. Because I am busy, as I mentioned to us, I'm going to maybe send, I think it might be a better option to send it onto the Arabic group, you know, the Arabic lessons that I have, which is all just in Arabic, you know, but that will be our exams, you know, one of the exam, but rather will be our assignment that I would like you to complete and send back to me, you know, at your own time, you know, but I think I might be doing it next week or so. But inshallah, you'll see, I'll put it onto the Arabic chat group because it would be better if we can email it, you know, but sometimes email takes a bit of time for me then to go to each and everyone's email. If I can rather put it onto the Arabic chat, you know, I think it would be much better for us to then just load off from there, inshallah. But I will do it in lesson form, inshallah. Zahir will obviously guide me on that, inshallah. Okay, fine. So we look at, this is a new skirt, obviously. So I'm just doing that. As I said to us, please, Kanala, all the time when it comes to translate into Arabic, I think this is where our greatest challenges are, and therefore try and at least do all that. Okay. Then here, translate into English. English is, I think it's, you should find it much easier to do it in English. But you know, as I say, that you know, this is like almost like a revision for number 1. Then when we come to number 3 here, answer the following questions, okay? So here, this is important. This will now strengthen your ability to be able to formulate, you know, the jumlatul ismiya, meaning the noun sentences, and also understanding the hal here, meaning is all the time. And then in turn, you know, you just will also obviously answer with a la, a na'am, or la, right? Affirmative.
Affirmative is na'am.
Noun, you know?
Yes.
Okay. Therefore, they say answer the following questions in the affirmative. And then they say, yeah, number 4, answer the following questions in the negative. So here, obviously, your answer will be as hal hadha jidarun nadhifatun. Na'am, hadha jidaratun nadhifatun. But here you'll have to do a little bit of thinking, right? By the negative, you must now change. You know? You must now change, for example, either the sifa, you know, you need to change the sifa into the opposite of it or something like that. Okay, right? Or you can make your own sentences also. That is important. And then this is our famous one here, number 5. Vocalize the following. You know, this is important for us. Vocalize the following. Can we see there? Halil. See, al kitabu. Halil kitabu. Remember when we said there's one statement that was made, and when you have a definite, then obviously you need to then put the I sound on the lam here. Na? Halil kitabu mufid. Halil kitabu mufidun. Mufidun. You know, because kitabu, if you're going to say halil kitabun, then that's incorrect, because as soon as you add the alamu ta'arif, then obviously the bu
you know, the
Yes.
last letter will only take a
It's
usam.
definite.
But then mufidun will take the right? So then therefore it then explains to you that this is not the sifa of kitab, but this is the, like we say, the predicate, right? This is the subject and
Khabar.
that is the predicate. Muhtaba, you know?
The khabar. Mufidun is
you know?
khabar.
The khabar. Okay, mufidun means useful. Okay, righto. I think that is where we will end for the evening, inshallah. I hope that we can, you know, that sound break that we had, you know, is better now. And maybe, inshallah, it should settle down better, inshallah, you know, as I don't know. But maybe it's just the internet here by us that's maybe a bit affected. But inshallah, we never had it. This is the first time, yes, last night and tonight as well for the class, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, that is my my lesson for the evening. Is there any further questions from your side? Anybody? Any questions? Shukran for the very interesting questions of, you know, of the gentlemen and the ladies that answered, the, you know, that requested the answering there. So alhamdulillah, I think that was, I think, very beneficial also for the other students. So is there any other questions that anybody else has, you know, that we need to maybe address before we conclude for the evening? Everybody comfortable?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Anyway, shukran. Have a good evening's rest, inshallah. Shukran for your time. And inshallah, alhamdulillah, we were all safe. Or I don't know, I don't see there's some students not here. So maybe I hope they weren't affected by load shedding. But I think
No
it
load
wasn't.
shedding. Load shedding was put off.
Okay, so that is the case aan die Rhoda. Dan het hulle miskien stokkies gedraai, né, soos ons sê, you know. Hulle seker stokkies gedraai. Weet jy wat is ek saying nou nie? Ons tyd as jy in die klas gewees het, sê hulle het stokkies gedraai. Ek weet nie hoe sê hulle nou. But anyway,
Shukran.
have a nice evening and a nice
Okay.
rest. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Shukran to Yusuf also for your valuable input and your time also, no? And to all of us. Shukran.
Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.